What's going on, guys? Welcome back to I Build Music Studios. I'm Mike DeSalvo. Have you ever felt like your air conditioning system is either your best friend or your worst enemy? Well, on today's episode, we're going to discuss the difference between ducted and ductless air conditioning systems. Stick around and find out which one is right for your studio. So before we dive into the pros and cons, let's take a quick trip back through time here. Ducted systems have been around since the 1900s. They've been used in recording studios forever. Ductless systems, or mini splits, became popular in the 1970s. They started in Japan and then made their way internationally. We really saw a sea change in the recording studio industry. About the early 2000s, they really started to filter in. Alright, so let's get technical, but not too technical. Ducted systems are comprised of a central unit that essentially moves air through the walls and ceilings. Think of it like a cool air highway running through your studio. Ductless systems consist of an outdoor unit connected to an individual indoor unit. No ducts, just cool air exactly where you want it. They generally consist of a freon line, input and output, a low voltage line, and a drain for condensation. Alright, so let's look at some of the pros of a ducted system. They're great for cooling large studios and commercial spaces. As a matter of fact, this is really where they shine. Hidden ducts mean no bulky units on your wall. Some people just don't like the look of ducted systems. Unlimited rooms with proper compressor sizing. Now, some of the cons: installation can be costly and invasive. Tin has gotten very, very expensive. Energy loss through ducts can lower efficiency. They can require regular duct cleaning. And from a studio side, depending on the engineer, they may call for duct silencers. Some of them may incorporate a lot of awkward turns to slow the air down. Some of them will also incorporate an airflow slowdown box that's usually built by a carpenter. They can be very bulky and take up a lot of space, as well as, very costly. Multi-room systems will also require zone dampers with individual thermostats. So let's look at some of the pros of ductless air conditioning. They're highly energy efficient, no duct loss. They're quick and easy installation. There's no major renovations required. They allow for zoned cooling, meaning different rooms can have different temperatures. And new units allow for multi-zone heating and cooling. Some of the cons: wall-mounted units may not be aesthetically pleasing to some people, although they have come out with in-wall and in-ceiling units in the past few years. They also might not be suitable for very large spaces, although they have begun to address this in a lot of the commercial units. One of the most common questions we get is about ductless mini splits and fresh air exchange. I find that a lot of people get confused with traditional ducted systems and believe that they introduce fresh air into the system. In fact, both styles of air conditioning systems would require what's known as a fresh air exchanger. We generally don't introduce these into a studio setting. They generally come with a new set of problems that need to be solved, but we won't go too deep into the weeds on that. Alright, so let's talk about heating. Most of today's ducted units offer a heat pump for heating, and it's almost impossible to buy a ductless system without a heat pump already installed. Most standard ducted and ductless units will operate down to about 5 degrees. And then also most of them will have what's known as a cold climate option, which is a heat pump that will work down to about -20 degrees. The most important factor to consider when placing your unit in a cold weather climate is wind access. Blocking it in an area or building a perimeter around the compressor will remove the wind chill effect, and the true range of the heat pump can be utilized. So, which one's right for you? If you have a large studio or you're already set up with ducts, ducted system may be the way to go. If you are doing a new build or have a smaller studio, a podcast studio, or a mastering studio without ducts, ductless AC could save you a lot of money and hassle. Regardless of which style you choose, always be sure to go with a reputable name brand that has a great warranty and guaranteed long-term parts. You will see a lot of advertisement for off-brand units for significantly less, as well as DIY kits. The warning here is after it dies in a few years, service may not be available, parts may be inaccessible, and you'll probably just wind up back at a brand name unit anyway. So, at the end of the day, both systems have their perks and their pitfalls. It all comes down to your specific needs. What do you think? Would you go for the ducted system or the ductless system? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more cool content. And stay chill.